Do your own research and due diligence before investing in any company. The information I provide is in no way or manner a professional suggestion to purchase shares in any publicly traded company. I am not licensed to provide financial advice, and this should be considered entertainment. These stock profiles are intended to be trading ideas, a starting point for research. Any individual who chooses to invest in any securities should do so with caution. Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk. You may lose some or all the money that is invested. Always research your own investments and consider consulting with a registered investment advisor or a licensed stockbroker before investing.
What's up, people? What is up? What is up? What is up? It's your boy Sal, man, back in the building. Another great trading day, man. Another great trading day. Let me get on the screen here. Shout out to everybody coming into the chat room. Nike killed it. I don't care what anybody says. Nike killed it on earnings. FedEx a little sideways, but I think both of them are going to open up strong. All right, gave you guys the warning yesterday. Nike looks like it's heating up. FedEx looks like it did really well. So excited to start the way with that. We're only 26 points away from Dow 20,000. We're only 26 points away. I thought we would get it today. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. What's going on, Bad Scientist? Bad Scientist was here early, man. Gerardo, Mr. Lloyd, what's good, man? Bruce Cole, Spartan Financial. Yes, indeed. Big Slim 80, more peace. Mr. Lloyd, I hope everything's worked out with the whole job thing, man. I was praying for you this weekend about that, man. Yes, indeed. Random Pen, NVDA. Yeah, NVDA lit up today, man. NVDA lit up today. You know, shout out to Connor. He's been on top of NVIDIA, man. I mean, who's been on top of NVIDIA than him? You know what I'm saying? CNAT was nice. But they had some other, stocks run today. But CNAT was kind of a disappointing, especially if you're not a shorter. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get the show started. This is episode number 97. Trying to see if I can get to 100 before the year's end. I think I will, especially with next week. Thank you for joining me here on episode 97. New people, old people, you guys know who you are. I appreciate it. CNAT, Thriller. Here's the thing, though. CNAT, I don't know. I thought the chart was a little bit too sideways for me, man. When I look at the day chart here, here's the day chart. It's a little too sideways for me, man. I mean, there were some opportunities if you got shares like that. You know what I'm saying? If you got shares like that, then I could see where you can win. But when I look at this, this is one day today. It's not much opportunity. Now, I'm starting to learn for these gap ups, that are up huge pre-market. If you short like the first thing in the morning, you can get a pretty serious pullback and profit off that. Because they start so aggressively. I mean, 530, 540, right? And then it came back down and then retested. If we zoom in a little bit to, let me see here if I can start back the morning. All right, got up high, came back down, retested. Again, we're still in the first 30 minutes. Still in the first, 15 minutes. Right, and then it came back down, and then it pretty much moved sideways all along. And I mean, there were opportunities to make some money. Don't get me twisted. There was some opportunities, some 420s to 450s. There were, in between the hours, there was some opportunities to get, a 20 cent, 30 cent move. All right, let me see here. Here's a 15-minute chart. So there were some opportunities here and there, but you had to really, catch it, man. Here's a 3-minute chart. Here's a 3-minute chart. And I was timing it myself, trying to look for some weakness here within the volume as well as on level 2. Because I was thinking it could crack lower. I was thinking possible crack, especially when we got to like the low teens, the low 14s. I was thinking, okay, this could crack into the 3s. I thought $3 would be a danger sign for CNAT. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, so I had to keep it moving and went back to ESSI. This is a stock that I've been telling you guys has just been a guaranteed short for the last 2.5 days. ESSI. Terrified because I constantly cover because I'm afraid, something could happen or what. But, I mean, a fraud is a fraud. ESSI been a guaranteed short. Been a guaranteed short. Yes, indeed. What's going on, Venture West? Let's see here. XGTI as well. XGTI, this stock, man, I don't know what woke this up today. This is a stock that continues to wake up out of the most inappropriate times. I mean, just when you think all hell is over with, XGTI, makes a run for it. It makes a run for it, man. 206, Mr. Lloyd, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man? Hell, I had the flu. I mean, as far as the stock flu, I guess that's what you'll call it.
Yes,
when you lose a lot of money, you just don't feel like talking to no damn body.
I hear you, man. No, I feel you 100%, man.
No, but I didn't lose any money in the stocks, but basically I got a call today and I accepted that job, man. It's like, I ended up getting sick. It's like I'm watching $10,000, getting ready to walk out the window, but here it is. I mean, and this is just my opinion on this, man, is that typically when you're at the top of the food chain and you kind of become complacent, man, as far as, you don't strive as hard. So I think taking a step back will allow me to move forward. And Adam, a big fuck you, okay? Anyways, man. So basically, man, as far as the stock wise, I haven't been trading at all this week, man. And actually, I just wanted to. Hopefully, just taking a step back will allow me to study a little bit better to move forward. So,
yeah.
Anyways, other than that, man. Oh, you know what? I wanted to ask you, since we didn't have a Friday show, there's a question I wanted to ask you. So, since you're around the same age, and you guys out there, have you ever got around a girl and decided to put on some Luther Vandross because you knew it was going to set the mood right?
Hell no, man. Luther, I don't know, man. Luther just never did it for me. You know what I'm saying? I think, I've always gone by the, what's the word? I don't know what show I got this from, but the guy talks about treat a queen like a whore and a whore like a queen. So I'm saying when I'm in front of, these women who are very, astute women, they hold themselves highly. I want some garbage slutty music on. I'm talking like some Master P type, you know what I'm saying? Like just some dirty ass,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I heard some Luther Vandross the other day, and I just thought about all the good times I had back in the day. Boy, you said some Luther Vandross after coming back in from a date, you guarantee knowing you're getting some.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean Luther did it back in the day, man. But I don't know. I just wasn't, I just didn't catch him. I didn't catch him,
Sinclair, you know what I'm talking about too. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Putting in some Luther after coming home, and you put a little cologne on, and next thing you know, just a few minutes until she gets that sound in her ear, and next thing you know, you go into the bedroom.
Yeah, there it is.
Anyways, man, yeah. So, probably a couple of weeks, man, I'll start getting back into the game. But,
okay.
What I've been noticing, and I don't know about for you as far as stock-wise, but you ever have your setup so perfect where you think, like, damn, well, I got all these indicators aligned just right.
Yeah.
and next thing you know, and you know the stock is going to fall. I mean, hell, it's going to fall tomorrow. And next thing you know, it goes up fucking 80%.
Yeah.
It kind of fucking like turns me off a little bit, man. Like, am I studying the right way? Am I not, am I doing something incorrectly? Because it's kind of discouraging a little bit to me when you take all this time to study and then you put all this shit up on your charts and next thing you know, the chart goes the opposite way. It's like, am I doing something wrong, or is this shit just a scam?
No, I mean, it's just, that's the market, man. I mean,
Yeah.
You're going against millions of other minds out there and computers, depending on the type of stock you're trading, and you can't read the future, so you can't blame yourself if you honestly feel like you did the right thing and did your due diligence, and unfortunately it didn't go in your direction. You cut your losses and keep moving. It's so funny because I was looking at some of Tim Sykes' trades and some of the other guys on Profitly, and they're accurate about 62, sometimes 58, 59% of the time. So for every other trade that they win big, they're cutting losses. So it's just that when they do win, it goes right in their direction very heavily. So it's not about being right every single time. I mean, you be right half the time and be a good trader. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing, and really not to beat yourself up on it.
Yeah, and and going into 2017 this year, man, I think I'm making a promise to myself as far as if I'm in a trade longer than a week, you becoming an investor, and I need to focus on being a trader instead of an investor. And that's been my biggest problem is that when you're down $100 or $200, you might just go ahead and cut that loss because it may not get back up there. Next thing you know, you're holding the bags, and so definitely next year I'm not gonna be holding no garbage bags, man. I don't give a damn how much garbage in there.
Well, here's the thing though, Mr. Lloyd. There are some stocks out there that we've talked about here on the show that you can hold for some good gains. I mean, one of them that I'm been cheering on for the last week, 2 weeks and a half. Genesis Healthcare, GEN, another 3% today. La Quinta is another one that I've been talking about here just a day or two or so, but I think that's another one that's going to go long. There have been some stocks that we've talked about here in the show that are continuing to win and make gains, and I think will be making gains over the next several weeks, several months. So I think maybe changing the kind of stocks you probably look at as well, or looking to go long in, because I mean, we've learned that there are certain stocks you just trade, and then there are certain stocks you go long in, and I think maybe really identifying which is which will work in your best interest too.
Right, and I think IMUC was a big lesson learned for me, man, because that was the first gap down play that I put like $1,000 up in there, hoping for the best, that it was going to get up to at least 20 cents, and shit, I was constantly losing money, and I really felt in my heart that was really going to be an investment, man, and so that's what I'm saying. I mean, if basically what I've been doing every morning, man, is I'm consistently gaining between $130 to $300 within 15 to 20 minutes, trading options and stocks, and so. But this is paper trading, so I understand people say it ain't real, but if you lose a lot of money, you can make anything feel real.
Right.
So that's all I wanted to share, man. But I appreciate the time, and definitely we'll chat more, okay?
Appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye.
All right. So, shout out to Mr. Lloyd for the new job. Mr. Lloyd, look, didn't want to deal with the stress on the old job, so decided to move to a different one that's going to really lower the stress level, and I hope also help him with his trading. So that I shout out to Mr. Lloyd. Shout out to Mr. Lloyd for that one. Apps is looking pretty. We talked about it last week. Let's say Apps trying to reset to at least 78 cents. Talked about it last week, so I don't know. Apps, we'll see. We'll see on apps. But there have been a couple of stocks out there that have been, moving in the right direction that, we've been talking about. Yesterday, one stock we talked about pretty heavily was GSAT. GSAT, the stock that was going to go from 4G to 5G, or at least request the FCC's permission to move into 5G. I think it's pathetic that they've got to ask permission to, produce this technology that's just going to make everybody's life better. I don't know why permission is necessary for that, but GSAT continuing to move, higher here. You know what I'm saying? Not crazy gain, but 6%, on your money is good money. All right, that's good money. So GSAT continuing to make new highs here, and it hasn't seen the 140s in some time. It has not seen the 140s in some time. So shout out to GSAT back on the list. All right, shout out to GSAT, man. Yeah, AMD. Somebody in the chat room brought up AMD $16, and I believe it, man. AMD $16 is very, very possible. I mean, 11, 12, 13. I mean, the fact is, the matter is the stock is gaining about anywhere between 27 to as high as like 70 cents, within the first 2 or 3 days of the week. And it's going to be interesting to see how the vacation does for the stock, for these stocks. But I think, after, again, we got the election of Donald Trump, I think that's going to be another incredible catalyst that's going to get people excited about the future, man. Then he's got the first 100 days. The first 100 days, that's going to be another big catalyst that's really going to, especially if he drops an infrastructure bill or some type of huge deregulation announcement, that's going to make stocks move, man. That's going to make stocks move. You guys are at the right place at the right time right now. All right? You're at the right place at the right time. Yes, indeed. Everybody else who's not trading right now is wasting a huge opportunity. If they're not trading, they're wasting a lot of opportunity to make some really serious money out here that they're only going to end up reading about, in history books, because they're not, aware. They're just not aware of what's going on. You got an incredible amount of wealth being built here. Companies like Amazon and Apple and AMD literally overnight creating $2-4 billion worth of value. Overnight. And we're not necessarily talking about, going in your pockets, but I'm saying as an investor, you get what you put in. So, I mean, if you got some money in there, of course, you're growing your wealth as well. Well, E-Man, we talk about them, all the time. Of course, you want to swing some of those, Genesis, La Quinta, GSAT, run them while they're doing hot. The banks are still looking good. It's so funny because we had Kevin Gets It. Kevin Gets It talked about, he thought banks would be off. I mean, look at Bank of America. Bank of America got over to 22. I thought my $22, $20 calls would it could be a pullback. Stock soared, continue to go higher. So I don't know what some people are talking about there. All right. What's going on, Big Shaq? ATKR above resistance. ATKR 2347. Man, this stock took off. Damn. It's kind of funny because it looks like Fred's. For those of you guys who don't know, Fred was the company that went and bought Rite Aid and Walgreens today. So shout out to ticker symbol FRED. Very sleeper. It was a sleeping stock, man. These stocks that just kind of, they've been doing their little business and all of a sudden, they just take off. Here's the 1 month chart in FRED. Now with the ownership of the Rite Aid and Walgreens, they've literally doubled their, footprint all over America. They're the largest pharmacy chain now in the world, Fred's. All right, they're the largest pharmacy chain in the world now with that acquisition, and this should go higher, man. 81% today. This should go higher. This will be a multiple day run here. This will be a multiple day run here on Fred. So I think maybe another couple dollars over the next maybe several days. I wouldn't be surprised if mid next month you're looking at anywhere between 23, 24, maybe even higher, $25 on Fred. Yeah, that's a serious acquisition right there, man. They put up a lot of money for that. I use TradingView. Bank of America 23 hoping for another. Yeah. Bank of America calls are really, really healthy right now. I think especially if you're looking at some calls, you can't go wrong in AMD, Bank of America, even going a dollar higher just out of the money. A dollar, I think, especially, you especially take next month or even the month after that, I think you're deep in the money by the time we get to you. Yes, indeed. ATKR, yeah, ATKR is nice too. I did like that trade on ATKR. That's a nice move too. And again, these higher price stocks, right? These higher price stocks, a lot of people do say, hey man, I can't afford as many shares as I want, but the percentage moves lately, it makes it worth it. Even though, yes, the option would make more sense technically, but if you're not playing delta, theta, and time decay well, you look at going through the stocks and the percentage moves that they've been making per day, per week. It makes it kind of worth it in the long run if you're putting in 25, 3,000. It kind of makes it. Now if you're putting in a lot less than that, I mean a couple hundred, then yes, just stick with your stocks under $1. Hey, what's going on, Bill Betts? Yeah, so stick with your, if you're playing with less than $1,000, you want to stick with, your stocks under $1 that are moving. They are moving, especially stocks under 5 too, that are moving really aggressively. They're moving really aggressively, man. New to the game. What's going on? Welcome, Jeff Horn. Nike, yeah, Nike's our earnings winner that we let everybody know about yesterday. Nike was definitely a stock that I knew would blow it out of the water. I had a feeling it would do some big things, and Nike, sure enough, investors knew. Look, Nike is a culture brand. You know what I'm saying? Nike, if you want to be cool in school, you buy Nikes. At the end of the day, Adidas is still, doing their thing, but at the end of the day, everybody still loves Nike. They still love Jordans. I don't know why, but they still do. And Nike is the signature brand, man. Is the signature brand, and they're going to keep winning as long as they continue to make, good quality shoes. They're not even making good quality shoes. Now they're bringing out a lot of old shit, the 98 Air Maxes and all stuff. That's what they're surviving on now. Nike really hasn't created a new shoe, maybe that everybody wants to get since maybe Foamposites. Like, honestly. Since Foamposites, I haven't seen Nike really come out with a shoe that everybody was like, okay, that's what I need right there. That's what I need. You know what I'm saying? Yes, indeed. All right. What's going on in the chat room? Speaker Knocker, what's going on, man? I'm set you as a moderator. Get any kind of foolishness out of here, man. I know we got some moderators in the chat room. What's going on, Penny Hat Stocks? Yes, indeed. Yes, Speaker Knocker, I made you a mod. Yeah, the Foamposites. Yeah, Foamposites are even kind of old. Yes, indeed. AMD made a nice move over $2 over the past day. Yeah, AMD's been nice. We've been talking about AMD. Hey, Sinclair, what's that other one that, man, I keep forgetting to write it down after the show. That one Sinclair follows. And RIP to K's, man. I don't know what happened to K's today. K's was the winner that, so many people were talking about. I said, man, they just need to get it together. K's was the OTC play that is a marijuana-based stock, but they just don't want to get the paperwork together because on paper they're oil and gas. And sure enough, the stock crashed today. 23% today, down on K's. All right, they just need to get it together, man. And Bill Betts, I talked to Bill Betts today about BTDG. This is a stock that could get it together again soon, man. BTDG. It's a 0004 stock. This is one of those plays that, if you got like $100 sitting somewhere, I would just drop $100 in there. And if just through the miracle of camping in OTC stocks, you can very well see this, those kind of $700, $800, 800% gains that we saw in Strikeforce Technologies and SGBY and all that stuff early in the summer. You could possibly see that with this stock here, BTDG. It's one of those kind of IT media kind of companies that has a tendency to kind of promote or get promoted pretty often, as you can see here through the chart. So right now at the double 0004s, it's actually not too bad of a bet. It's not too bad of a bet. Maybe if you can be a little more patient, maybe you might get back down to the twos. It hasn't been back there for the last like 2 months. All right, it hasn't been back there for the last 2 months. But BTDG is one of those stocks that gets pumped pretty regularly, and I'm going to be honest. I have taken a position in it, and I'm going to just sit in it. It's not. We'll see where it goes. All right, but I love these triple runners because they do very, very well. STM, yes, STM another winner. Yeah, STM is another winner that we talk about here. STM, AMD. These were all stocks that some people won't call them penny stocks anymore, but they were penny stocks, and now they're in the double digits. Moving higher. STM is going to 13. It's going to 13. Genesis Healthcare is another one. All right, CNAT. Yeah, Lee, I talked about CNAT. CNAT's okay, but I'm kind of scared for CNAT tomorrow, though, man. I'm kind of scared for CNAT tomorrow, though. I thought the news was pretty strong today for a serious run, and it didn't happen. So now, when I look at CNAT tomorrow, where does the momentum come from? It comes from yesterday's news, but is that momentum going to be there? I think there are some people right now in CNAT that aren't going to be there tomorrow. That if the stock doesn't do something within the first 2 hours of the day, they're going to sell their positions and move on, my friend. And they're going to move on and move to something else. Yeah, Bill Betts, I think you can get 333. You can get 333. I saw the stock touch 333. I was actually filled at 333 on that stock. Yeah, you can look at use. Unfortunately, when it comes to OTCs, right now there is Share Trader or Sure Trader, the overseas one. Not big fan of them, so I would actually look at TD or E-Trade. TD gets you, no minimum deposit, so I like that. But the $9.99 does suck, so you got to change up the way you trade the OTCs. At $9.99 in and out, you kind of got to sit around for a little bit, and you're not necessarily running in and out like you would probably on Robinhood. Yeah, that is frustrating, but I think they're headed in that direction, Jeff. I think they're headed in that direction. BTC. What is that? BTC? BTCS, you mean? I don't know if you're talking about BTCS. This is another one. BTCS, the Bitcoin company that ran crazy a couple weeks ago as well. If you guys remember, Bitcoin was pretty hot. It's down at these low levels. All right. I kind of do want to bring some of these, OTC plays that are now cooled off a little bit to your attention, because these are opportunities you can kind of get in and, be a little bit patient as they kind of build their following back up. But you can find yourself, with a serious gain here over a couple days. Also, congratulations to NWBO, or what used to be NWBO, now trading on the OTC markets. Got delisted off the NASDAQ, so now is in the ghetto with us. You know what I'm saying? NWBOW is the new ticker. So pretty long, but same company. NWBOW is what used to be NWBO. All right. So yes, it's been delisted. It's now in the ghetto. At 24 cents a share. Took a huge nosedive today, 30% off the price. I'll type the ticker in the chat room so you guys can follow through on that. What's that? NWBOW. Yeah, that's the new ticker for that pharmaceutical play. That, not too long ago was a darling, man. Not too long ago this was a darling. Look at what NWBO was this summer. I remember us talking about NWBO, man, and it's just crazy how times change, man, and how situations change, and stocks that were so prominent not too long ago all of a sudden are in unfortunate straits. Mankind Corporation was on our list last night. I was kind of disappointed with the slow with what that chart was doing today. I continued to look at it throughout the day. The morning gap up was pretty strong, but not gap up, but the morning move was strong, but the pullback killed it. And I thought maybe a possible test to $1 could happen today, but not today, unfortunately, on Mankind. So slow week, slow day anyway for Mankind. Shout out Mace Ingle for that one. SGY moved ahead of AMD today temporarily. SGY, the Stone Energy Group. It's so funny because this Stone Energy has really kind of came out of nowhere, man. This came out of nowhere. Now, the thing about this company, it's insanely low PE. This is we brought this up last week. The PE is insanely low. It's like less than 1. It's less than 0.50. That's how insanely low the PE is on this company. The stock has gained over 100%. Maybe like 90%. Gained over 90% in 7 days. It's been insane for SGY. So, and it continues to grow. And who knows how high this can keep going? So, if you're playing this chart right now, by all means, you're banking. I think it was kind of scary to see it crack below 200 though. Toward the end of the day, I thought this was something that could be somewhat of a warning. So tomorrow's going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting because I want to see how the stock ends the week. But this could be an opportunity for some people to jump in at about $1.50 discount. Or this could be telling us something that the future could be a little bit scary for SGBY, and it could be giving some of that back. And so SGBY is on our list to watch for really the rest of the month, because I want to see how this stock really ends the year. If we end up back in the 12s, touching the 52-week high again, the weekly high, of 1240. What is that? 1249, which has been the weekly high for the stock. The 52-week high is actually $46. Actually $46. All right. So we'll see. Robinhood has no plans for advancement. Big Slim, not sure what. All right. It's AEXE. Yeah, AEXE. AEXE has been another one that's been on a tear. AEXE AIM Exploration up 27%. OTC play that again, has been attracting some good people. 860, you're on the air. What's up?
Oh, that's all right.
Hey, you there? 860. All right, so you hung up. I'm not sure what that was about, man. Called up and hung up.
Get out of here, you damn nigga!
All right. Anyway, AEXE, yeah, man, up pretty big, man, up pretty big. This is another, company that's up, I want to say, over the course of 2 weeks, over the course of 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, The stock is up 430% in 3 weeks. I think it's up over 430%. Let me calculate that percentage change. All right, calculate percentage change. I just want to say what's that increase in the stock, because I know I've been talking a little greasy about pennies and OTCs, but I went back today, while I'm going along in some of these other stocks, and look, man, these they're still putting up stupid numbers, man. They're still putting up stupid numbers, and I can't deny the money being made there, man. When you look at AEXE, that we've been sitting by and watching, gain incredible numbers, which is actually a situation where the stock pulled back and now looking to try and reassert itself if it can do that. But, let's look at where the stock has been over a month. Let's say Trump got elected here. We're at what, 0.0050. 0.0050. And now we're, in fact, I want to see where it was at its peak. So the peak was 0.0314. For a gain in 1 month. 1 month and, what is that, 1 month and 12 days. 13 days, actually. For a gain of 528%. Yeah, 528% gain. All right, and do the math on $1,000 there. Do the math on $1,000, what that would look like. That's why when I talk about, BCTS, and when I talk about, these other ones that are kind of off, the promo radar right now, you can get in and just be a little bit patient and see what could possibly happen, especially that Bitcoin stock. I would not doubt that Bitcoin penny stock, that will do something again very shortly. BMCB, Pharma Biotech, another OTC company, 5% gain today, 7.2 million. 7.2 million. Let me see here, TVIA. Let me see, Pharma, BMCP. What is this? And shout out to OTC Markets, man. I don't know what happened. OTC Markets got a denial of service attack. It's crazy because the other day it happened to Investors Hub. They got cut off. So OTC Markets had a little denial of service attack. I think it started at like 5 or something like that. It just kind of went offline. And it looks like they're back now, though. But they were offline for a couple hours. I don't know if you guys had saw that. But they were offline. And shout out to Investors Hub. They got a denial of service attack last week. I think it was like Thursday or something like that. Yeah, PMCB does have decent volume. And it's really interesting because the investors are holding on to it. So not bad. Forbes, Spirit Animals? No, Iron Hand, not sure about that, man. Nah, I didn't hear anything about that. I just made you a mod. Post a link in the chat room, Iron Hand. Post that link in the chat room. Something about Spirit Animals? What the hell? Let me see here. You started trading Kritos? Richie, what's the ticker to that? Venture West, TVIA. If you want. TVIA. NASDAQ, 23% gain. I'd like to see some more volume on that one. I mean, 1.9 million is nothing to squeeze at, too. But I don't like the way that chart is kind of scary. No. BlackBerry did poorly. BlackBerry did actually pretty poorly. They unfortunately missed on I think I want to say it was their disappointing software sales. So Yeah, BlackBerry unfortunately missed it, which was really nice because the puts did very well on BlackBerry. I didn't take advantage of that one though. I was so concerned about getting in on Nike and some of the other plays that I knew would do well. But BlackBerry missed. BlackBerry missed. All right. Let me see here. Yeah, Iron Hand, I pulled it up. Pixel is going to Google Pixel is going to be big competitor. Here's the thing though, man. If Google Pixel was going to do something, it would have already done it by now. Shout out to the Google Pixel though, because the camera is the bomb. The camera is the bomb. I have seen some people use the camera, and the camera on the Google Pixel is the best I think I've ever seen in a phone. I think it's the best I've ever seen in a phone. I think the Google Pixel, when you record video, the one that I did see and played with, the video is almost as clear as like a GoPro, dude. That's how good the video is. It's like a fucking GoPro in a phone. That's absolutely insane. I've never seen video like that. I mean, crystal clear video on a whole different level, man. On a whole different level. Making money on DraftKings. Oh, okay. Hey, so what do you think about e-options? I like e-options. I like e-options for options. And for, if you want to back up to your Robinhood or something like that, but no OTCs, unfortunately. No OTCs. But, I mean, if you trade the lower end NASDAQ stuff at $3 with unlimited shares, you can't go wrong. Yeah, no OTCs, though. Hey, Treasure Hunter, what's good, man?
Well, what's happening, Sal? What's happening?
Good. Let's check up on some of your trades, man. I mean, how do you do today?
Well, I was going to say, it was kind of hard today. It was a very, very hot day today. It was like 80-something degrees today. So I decided to go to the beach and hit one of those little tiki huts, have a little mixed drink with an umbrella sticking on top.
Yes, indeed. South Florida, beautiful South Florida weather, man.
Oh, my God, I love it. And then, out of nowhere, I've seen the helicopters, jets and stuff. And then it hit me. Donald Trump's in town. I guess he's home at his house in Palm Beach County. So, yeah, I guess he brought Air Force with him, too. So I got my laptop and trying to day trade over there at the beach. And but I did manage to get some trades in, though.
Okay.
Let me see. One of my old tickers, SSI.
SSH, you mean?
No. I got SSH, too, but SSI also.
Oh, SSI.
Remember
Okay,
when we
Stage
first
Stores.
started this show?
Yeah, I remember. Okay, Stage Stores, yes.
Yeah. Made a little pop on him.
Yeah, it looks like it's trying to do some things again. I remember you riding Sage Stores way back in the summer. Now, what brought this back to your attention here? I know it was your summer little ride, but it kind of got bearish on there. It looks like it's kind of going back to retest those highs. Yeah.
Well, you know me. You know what I'm saying? I flip them all day long, every day. And I read the chart. And I said I think he's going to make a little move. So put a little grip in them, and worked out pretty good. And another one I was real proud of was OACQW.
Okay, let me put this one in the chat room. SSI. I like that. It's not bad. It's not bad for a price, man. Looks like it's been doing very, very good.
I've been making licks on him since 8-9 months, something like that.
Yeah, been in and out there. Looks like it's almost up about $1 in the last week or so. $1 a share. Now, what was the other ticker you just gave out?
OACQW.
OACQW. Oringo. I do remember this one. Now, this is really interesting. What exactly is this one about? Because it's got a couple tickers floating out there. What exactly is this about?
Man, you know me. I just whipped a little laptop out during the day, hit the beach on my boat, and I just jump in. But and then I hit your show and have you guys break it apart. But I'm not too for sure what happened, but I know pretty good, and I do my usual, kept scaling in, and I was like awesome, and what I'm saying, I just want to ask you, is it going to run tomorrow? I wonder. About the indicators and all that.
I mean, look, 810,000 shares traded, 287% on gain for the stock. Again, I don't know where that volume comes from. I do see here there was.
I find this shit, dig it up. For my
it looks like I just found an article from yesterday about an acquisition. It was an after-hours acquisition that happened yesterday with this company and what looks like a residential and commercial real estate developer out there in Hawaii. And, vacation property is big money. Looks like it's a resort property called The Villages.
I be finding some shit, huh?
Yeah, single-family home sites, family townhouses, luxury townhouses, estate lots, as well as retail and a commercial center with a golf course and lodge.
Damn, that's you said an earful right there, bro.
Yeah, it looks like there's also a development plan for another facility where it's under phase 1 construction, comprised of 61 acres. Development consisting of luxury villas and other single-family lots as well. So, not bad, not bad. So, a really interesting thing. It looks like it's kind of one of those small little REIT plays. That this probably is a holding company, and how it was trading on the NASDAQ so quietly, not doing anything with
bro,
very little, if any, volume.
I turned around my account. I was like, what? Hell yeah, what a fucking little extra, little 700. Yeah. What the? Then did my research. And another one, man, I be getting kind of cocky and stuff. Kind of hard to lose money in this stock stuff. Well, I mean, for me, I've been doing it for so long, and then when I do lose money in the stocks, I look at the stock like, okay, what the hell made me buy this shit? But I've been doing pretty good on a bounce play. Another bounce that, then again, time ran out. BLDP. Yeah.
All right, Ballard. Yeah, interesting. Ballard Power System was a contract winner several months ago. It hasn't done much since.
As
you can see, this was when I think it was a big contract win earlier in the summer, and it did move off that, but it had gotten bearish recently. What brings this back into your attention?
Shit, that big drop after 11. I got in after about 11:40. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at that J down at the bottom, or let me see. Yeah, there it is. Like after, like he's, I learned from your show. After 10 o'clock, shit start dropping. If it's kind of shit. But after, was it 10 o'clock, whatever? After 11 o'clock, it started dropping.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, it hit that J, bro, and I, started, scaling in, then it bounced back up, and then it kind of settled towards the end, so like 4 o'clock, like it wanted to bounce back up again, and then again, it happened to me again. Time ran down. I'm like, fuck.
Right. So, I mean, obviously, if you're going into
I'm
something
still
like this,
up. I'm up on it.
Right. The move wasn't strong enough to end. You probably positive that you wanted it for a one-day trade, but you're seeing this as a possible turnaround.
I don't care what it does, but I just whip the little laptop out and do my thing. If I make a couple hundreds or whatever what I make on it, it's a wrap. But and then if it drops a little bit, I'm out. I don't know how certain guys do it, but you know what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it turns around, I'm still in. If it making money, hell yeah. But you know what I'm saying, if it drops, anything, I'm out. But now certain plays that I don't care what it does. My long term plays, is going to be SSH. That's my long-term play, and IVFZF. Because I'm going to be like one of them guys that buy a shitload of shares, and then when it hits, a couple of dollars or 50 cents or whatever, and I start selling, and be like, damn, what happened?
It is pretty, it's so funny because, I mean, you're basically talking about what guys do on the OTC markets, which is basically just find stocks that have spiked
camp.
that and just camp on them. That's basically what you're trying to do. You're finding, stocks that have spiked, you're getting in huge on these lows, and then you're waiting it out until I mean that's a way that is a way to trade, and
they got a little money to burn, and you ain't got nothing really to do with it. It's just camp. Ain't nothing wrong with it. And then when you least expecting it, it's like, shit, what the damn, this bitch is up. Hell
and some people may say
that happen to us.
Right. I mean, and the only thing with that is we don't know how long till the next time they do something. We don't know how long you would have to wait till they can, go supernova again. But yes, I guess it would make it worth it when you can wake up one day and find
the marijuana play is not too long. Usually, once every 3 months, I got to kind of did my homework on them. You know what I'm saying? Something in that cycle.
Okay.
Give or take. Give or take in there. You don't got to wait like 6-8 months. You got to wait a shitload,
I wouldn't say 6 months or anything like that. I mean, these stocks will eventually run and do some things. But, it's definitely a different way to trade, man. Definitely. Appreciate it, man.
You know the way I do it, man. It'd be all kind of different crazy shit. Buy them on a dip, buy them while they're rocketing, buy them flat lines, you know what I'm talking about, double zeros.
Very true, very true.
Yep. Anyway, it's a little money to make on it. I'm doing it.
There it is,
man. Easy way, not, all the complicated stuff. But that's my pick, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, Treasure Hunter.
You got it, cousin.
Yes, indeed. So shout out to Treasure Hunter. I mean, that's the way he trades, man. That's the way he trades. And, just looking to really scavenge, he's scavenging, you know what I'm saying? That's his way to trade. And he doesn't play with anything. He doesn't, feel like he can really go in heavy and make it worth his weight, So shout out to him, respect the fact that he stays to his style. You can't really bring anything to his attention that he's doesn't fancy. A lot of them are, relatively low volume or, real shady looking. But, he does stick to, that style. He's scavenging. I mean, that's basically what he's doing. He's scavenging, not savage. He's scavenging. Look at what he brought up. The Q Sega, whatever stock. I mean, who finds that? But that does trade on the NASDAQ. Previously at 10,000 shares traded, and all of a sudden today it did over 800,000. Who finds shit like that? So shout out to him for doing that. All right, you had some other stocks too. Again, that speaking of down in the dumps, TWEer. I got an alert on TWEer because this is one of those stocks too, that can jump real quickly. And TWEer, I'm watching it. I am watching TWER. That 10% move today was really interesting. I wanted to see what was that up to all of a sudden, a 10% move. I didn't see any news. They did move up to OTC. They got delisted because this was a NASDAQ stock. They got delisted to OTC QB, which is about almost a month ago now. So this is kind of one of those OTC stocks now that, again, along with NWBO, former NASDAQ plays that can do some things when they put out some news. All right, these are legitimate companies that unfortunately right now are trading on the OTC markets. So 23 cents right now for TWER, diversified company, which is really interesting because I feel like if GSAT actually does get that for 5G application FCC approval, if that ever does come out. I think TWER could be one of those plays that kind of gets that, gets the hype just by being associated in somewhat the similar business. All right, somewhat similar business. They're both kind of like satellite companies. MSTX, I don't know what happened to MSTX. It's been a while since I've seen MSTX pull up. Just haven't followed it. It's still got insane volume, which is really interesting. And not sure why they don't just delist to the OTC markets. The thing about, MSTX is that I'm terrified of them getting, that delist notice and then the stock dropping 2-3 cents, which could represents a huge move for where they are right now. Yeah, so I wouldn't go long right now until I find out whether or not they're actually going to reverse or, delist to the, to OTC markets. LLNW, stock that we talked about yesterday, continues to do well, man. Another day of gains for LLNW. Another day of gains for the stock, and, it continues trajectory going higher. So we'll see what happens with that, man. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, Joshua, I did see that. Congrats if you're still in it. MPET. Let me see here. Yeah, Jack Runner. No, I wouldn't short LLNW just yet, man. Let me see what the 1-year chart looks like. Yeah, I mean, the 1-year chart still shows very, higher highs. The primary trend still looks pretty good. All right, still looks pretty good. You can see the intermediate trend, which would be about 6 months. 6 months still looks very, very good. So, if your day trade goes wrong based on the chart, all right, based on the chart, looks like you're right if you leave it alone, even if it goes wrong for you on the daily move. 3 months still looks good. Here's a 90-day chart, still looks good. So, no, I don't want to short into a positive trend. That's very dangerous. That's really dangerous. So I don't see it just yet. It's slow. It's not the fastest mover in the world, but I wouldn't short this just yet because I don't see a negative trend here to jump on. All right. I think you might find yourself having to close out in the wrong direction. Yes, I did see Fred. That was a good move on their part, man. A very sleepy company that I guess was sitting on a lot of cash, went out and bought Rite Aid and Walgreens in one swoop. HTBX. All right, looks like that moved up higher in the day, settled back down to 77 cents. HTBX. NVCN. You said you would buy that on the $2 breakout? Yeah, I love how the bands are getting tighter on that. I do love how the bands are getting tight on NVCN. But man, look, I love the news that came out. I mean, the news that came out the other day was huge for the stock, but you can't help but be a little bit disappointed with the way NVCN has moved since the news. If anything, it looks like you're breaking down here. Although the 2% move was nice today, if you spread the chart out a little bit, NVCN kind of looks dangerous, Bad Scientist. You said you would go long here? Because when I look at the chart, man, I'm showing price weakness when I look at a 5-day chart in the stock at a 1 hour 5-day chart. Actually this is 1 hour 2 weeks here. It's pretty weak, man. It's pretty weak. Let me see here. 5 days. Here's a 5-day chart. 5 days, 5 minutes. I don't know if I want to. I would buy into that. I don't know if I would buy into that. I don't know if I would buy into that when I look at that. You know, my thing is I don't want fight trends. You know, fighting trends is hard to do. I like piggybacking. You know what I'm saying? One of the things about growing wealth is a little bit here and there adds up. You know, not necessarily trying to find a home run. I want a piggy bank. Give me 3%, 4%, 5% here and there over multiple trades. You know what I'm saying? I'm terrified with the idea of looking for the big win. I just want easy. I want simple. I want easy. I want simple. All right? I don't want to feel like I have to be incredibly intelligent to do this. Because most of the guys, if you watch the guys who are really, really successful, you know, let's say channels on YouTube like Chat with Traders, most of those guys are not like incredibly smart. I mean, seriously, when you listen to some of those guys, they're not, hey, what's going with 3 hooks? They're not like incredibly intelligent people. You know? I don't know if you guys have felt that way. You know, when I listen to Tim Sykes, he's smart. When I listen to Tim Grittani, you know, you can tell this guy knows what he's talking about, but I don't feel like I'm listening to, you know, a Harvard physicist. You know what I'm saying? Because you can fuck with what he's saying. When you're listening to those videos from like a Harvard physicist, I can't even pronounce the word right, physicist, you can say, oh, wow, this guy's, you know, yeah, obviously I have no idea what he's talking about. You know? What do you think about CNAT? I think CNAT is bearish tomorrow. I think CNAT sees its first red day. CNAT is red tomorrow. I think CNAT gives it up, especially if we don't see a move within the first 2 hours. I mean a serious move in CNAT, because it could be possibly a delayed reaction here on CNAT. I've seen that before where good news comes out and, you know, investors not sure really where to go. So it could be a delayed reaction. Maybe, you know, buyers come in tomorrow and expect to see some serious movement. But I think if you don't see anything within the first 2 hours on CNAT, I think you're looking toward a red day in the afternoon. Yeah, I think you're looking at a red day. PYDS 4% move payment data systems. This is like the wannabe PayPal, right? It's like a wannabe PayPal. Shout out to PayPal. I think PayPal one day too is going to be, you know, one of these stocks out here that really starts to move. Why they aren't already is beyond me, because PayPal, you know, who else do you trust to take, you know, credit card purchases when you're dealing with small business owners and online than PayPal? So for all the billions of dollars that they do, I'm actually quite surprised to see PayPal trading at a reasonable 34 times earnings at $40 a share. It should be significantly higher than that. You know, significantly higher than that. PayPal should be moving like Amazon, honestly. You know, they should be moving like Amazon. PayPal, in fact, you know, Amazon and PayPal are like this. You go and shop on Amazon, I can almost assure you to finish your cart, right? You're going through PayPal. So how are we, you know, the fastest growing retailer in the world, and here we have the stock that isn't moving, you know, in the same way? So I think PayPal accumulating at these prices, if you have, you know, extra $40, $50 here and there, I think that's probably actually a smart thing to do. All right, it's a smart thing to do. You know, if we spread it out, let me see here. I think the company, here's the 1 year chart in PayPal. It's been relatively slow, but a breakout could be coming here. You know, the 52-week high was 2 months ago, and the stock has cooled since then. So PayPal's got some catching up to do. This has got some catching up to do. CNAT, use the VWAP 5-minute chart. Go long if it breaks 486. Okay. What's going on, Oakland in the house? Richie Rich, let me see here. I'm going to check out that VDR. Oh, no, what's that? The Treasury Bond? Oh, no, that's not what I'm looking for. VSGY. SGY. Yeah. We did talk about Stone Energy. We did talk about Stone Energy for the breakout here. And that's a really interesting play too, by the way. If we spread it, that breakout here on Stone Energy. So that's the top was what, 23.91. So what is the stock trying to say here? That 23.91 was like July. That was July. So that breakout coming here on SGY is going to be something serious. We'll see if it's real though. We'll see if it's real. And I've hesitated to take that trade. Missed out on almost 100%. Missed out on 100%. You're looking to get into something safe. If you're looking to get into something safe right now, you got to look at Genesis Healthcare, man. GEN. How safer can you get? I don't want to, sound like I'm pumping, but, residential long-term healthcare company. Old people aren't getting any younger. I like the business. It doesn't depend on Trump. Big company, almost 80,000 employees, over 80,000 employees. I like the business. All right. $650 million market cap. Still got a lot of growing to do. All right. When I was cheerleading Sprint at these prices, people thought I was crazy. Sprint. Look where Sprint is now. AMD. Look where AMD is now. I think Genesis Healthcare is, on that level where we can be talking about 7 months from now, this stock at the double digits. And you with a considerable amount of profit. If you want to talk about safe and secure, we're talking about safe and secure trades here. Obviously you could probably make a lot more money faster going with some of the OTC plays we're looking at. But you're talking about safe and secure long-term or a good swing position trade. I think right now AMD, Genesis Healthcare, NVIDIA, higher price companies. Yes, that is a higher price, but I think, you're looking good there. STM, Joshua Howard, that's my best long right now. ABUS, Abartis Pharma. You see, my thing about pharmaceutical is that if I'm jumping into pharmaceutical, it's because they've done something, so there's they're running on that good news, or they're flatlined and something could happen. But I don't like jumping into pharmaceuticals when they're looking for a floor. They're looking for somewhere to rest, and I'm not interested in watching, my position to be, this shit and be the skid mark, you know what I'm saying, on those draws, until they find a stop. You know what I'm saying? Until they find a stop. You get in a price like now at 270, 3% gain today, but who knows where the stock will be a week from now. All right, and I look at the 90-day chart. I don't like this 90-day chart. You're below the 200-day moving average. Hell, okay, you're not going to be in there 90 days, even 5 days. I don't like it. I don't like it. Now, somebody say, well, this could be signaling a breakout here. This could be signaling a breakout here. Okay. When I spread the chart out a little higher, yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no. But I kind of, let it prove itself to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to take the risk. Let the stock prove itself. If it breaks out higher, then I'll go for the ride. But I shouldn't have to take the risk to find out. And if it goes against you, then, who knows where the stock could be. Low risk, high return, GBSN. GBSN has been a ticker that we've talked about here a lot. I don't know about the way that looks right now. It does trade on OTC now. I do like that. PVCT, T-Log. Yeah, T-Log. T-Log is another one, man, that used to trade on NASDAQ, got delisted, now trades on OTC markets. T-Log. I like the fact that they're still putting out news, though. This stock got delisted almost, 3 months ago now on T-Log. So, I don't know. Some serious news has to be made here on T-Log before I get in. Nice move today, though. Nice move. Nice move on that. CETX was that winner back in the day, man. And when we say back in the day, it was just like a couple months ago. It's just that in trading, 2 weeks ago is a long time ago. It's a long time ago. I mean, depending on how some of you guys trade, the day feels longer if you're in a stock that you're worried about. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a stock that you're worried about and you're looking at that chart, man, an hour feels like an eternity. You know what I'm saying? The day feels long when you're in a trade that you're kind of concerned about. Man. You're just looking at that chart like, Lord, please keep going up or keep going sideways or whatever. Just don't go down. And 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes feels like an eternity. AMD, yeah, AMD has cheap options. Yeah, shout out to Dave Thomas, man. Appreciate you for hitting me up on Twitter and going back and forth with me. I like AMD right now, man. He was talking to me about leaps in AMD. I'm a sure thing in that. $12 AMD, I'm all over it. I'm all over it, man. Especially when we break through this 20,000 Dow. When we break through the 20,000 Dow, I mean, come on. It's going to be nuts, man. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. Tomorrow, Nike's going to be nuts. All right, be careful on that, though. It was kind of scary a little bit today, Nike. It was a little bit scary on Nike today. I was like, oh, man. It was a little scary on Nike. But that 51, it broke through that with some real strength. So it's going to be interesting to see what Nike opens up at tomorrow and how high Nike goes. All right. But Nike's it's kind of underperformed for the year. So it looks to, I think a real aggressive day is called for tomorrow on Nike. All right, not a cheap stock. Not a cheap stock, though. All right, Dow 20,000 will cause more. Oh, yeah, man. Dow 20,000 will cause, a lot more bullish behavior. You got to understand, the S&P 500 right now is above the 50-day moving average. It's above the 100-day moving average. It's above the 200-day moving average right now, man. Bullish behavior is right now. It's not going to cause bullish behavior. It's just going to justify. Dow 20,000 justifies the bullish behavior. Then on January, what's inauguration day? The 15th or something like that? That's going to be another, justification for the bullish behavior. And then the first 100 days of the Trump administration, because please believe, you're talking about a media superstar. This man knows how to play the media. So this first 100 days in office, please believe that's going to be a media storm of great news. This is what we're going to do for the economy. This is what we're going to get rid of. This is what we're going to, so it's going to be, an incredible catalyst moving into 2017. An incredible catalyst moving into 2017. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but, some of these stocks that have been doing incredibly well so far, like AMD, like financials, like real estate, retail sales, the Amazons of the world, the Apples, regardless of the fact that he wants them built here in America. That's besides the point. Besides the point. All right? And having, iPhones built in America, it's not having a plant with 5,000, American citizens. It's, a plant with high-tech robotics that are powered by Apple and NVIDIA chips. You know what I'm saying? That have trucks that are, stamped Ford on them. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about 1 million people standing in line for manufacturing jobs. We're just talking about innovation on a grand scale and happening right here in America instead of in China. The future is the future. You can't stop that. Manufacturing with some guys, sitting over a table or some, doing a hammer and all that shit's long gone. If that's something you got to look for now, you got to learn how to program. You got to learn how to, mess around with the computers and CAD especially. Learn how to CAD and all those things. That's the future if you really want to do manufacturing now. Manufacturing is not what it was in the 1940s and 50s. Paying people $33 an hour to, screw in a bolt, man. That's long gone. They're saying the next 25 years we could be replacing doctors, man. In fact, there was somebody in here could probably tell me there are a couple medical device companies, right? What's that company that's getting rid of medical device company? Surgical is like I forgot the name of it, but they were basically doing automated surgeries. So imagine never having to actually hire a surgeon. You know what I'm saying? These surgeons are incredibly expensive, but imagine having a machine do your surgery. This is a machine that never gets tired, that performs the operation at 99.9% efficiency. It'll never show up to work, late. It will never require, insurance of any kind. It can work 24/7, And now in the future, these facilities will be owned by the insurance companies. So whenever you need a surgery, you just, you fuck with the insurance company, surgery company, they schedule you. That could be as soon as, the next day or the next week. The doctor is gone. The idea of a doctor for your surgery is kapoof. That's the future, man. Intuitive Surgical, yeah, there are a few companies out there that are on the ball with that already. There are a couple companies out there. Okay, yeah, Intuitive Surgical. Okay, yes. Yeah, okay, look, that trades for almost $600 a share. Look at that shit. ISRG at $634 a share. $24 billion market cap. Yeah, this is not a cheap company right here. This is not a cheap company right here. But this is the future. And I'm all with it, man. Bring out those Terminator arms. What was the name of the company in Terminator? I forgot the name of the company. Somebody knows the name of the company, with the robot arm. That's the future, man. That's the future. IRSG, yeah, ISRG. That's the ticker. All right, Ace V. Genesis Healthcare, Cyberdyne. Yeah, bring on Cyberdyne. Bring on Cyberdyne. He said Skynet. Skynet was the software. Cyberdyne was the company. Yeah. Yeah, he said Skynet. Yeah, man. Yes, indeed. What do you think about VUZI? VUZI? Phone and handheld devices. I gotta see what do they mean. Do they manufacture the devices? VUZI? Because if we're talking about a Chinese or Singapore, I'm seeing some news here out of Singapore. Leading supplier of smart glasses, augmented reality, and virtual reality technology. Leading supplier of smart glasses, virtual reality technology, products for consumer and enterprise markets. Okay. So if we're talking about a manufacturer, if they're just manufacturing the product, then I'm not so excited about them, because that can be taken away. That can be taken away if we're talking about simply a manufacturer. But if they actually create the technology behind it, and if I'm going into the VR space, I want to actually be, I probably want to be into more the hardware side of it. So not necessarily the manufacturing, but what goes behind the nuts and bolts. So I'd rather be in like the AMD NVIDIA play on that one, and not necessarily the manufacturing side of the actual product. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. You want the Tim Sykes videos? Yeah, we definitely got them. We got all 8 of his stuff. Let me see here. The Pirate Bay. If you don't have Pirate Bay, definitely go ahead and download uTorrent or BitTorrent. I actually prefer BitTorrent because it's a little lighter. It's a little lighter, and uTorrent's got the whole ad thing sometimes. They're trying to shut down Pirate Bay, man. So y'all, if y'all don't know how to use Pirate Bay, man, you better go in there and get as much info as you need, man. There's some Saturdays I go on Pirate Bay and just go ham, because once those sites are down, it's gone. It's kind of like what happened to Ice Torrents. Ice Torrents is gone. There was another website called Torrent Search that it was like that's gone. And once these sites go down, man, it's so hard to replace. So hard to replace. Yeah, see, Pirate Bay's down right now, man. It's down right now. I can't even get to it, man. But send me an email, Shannon, at happypennystocks@gmail.com. Send me an email, happypennystocks@gmail.com. Just say you want the Tim Sykes torrents that I promised you at the chat. And that goes for anybody else. Voos has some good encryption. Okay, Lonnie, that's good, Lonnie. Yeah, LimeWire got taken down. Yeah, man. Yeah, Pirate Bay seems down, man. What's going on, Select Start? Yeah, happypennystocks@gmail.com. Yeah, there it is, man. He said freeze, FBI. Yeah, can't hate the player, hate the game, man. They actually can't come after you. They gotta go after Pirate Bay, man. Yeah. Yes, indeed. XXII, 22nd century. Oh yeah, this is a stock we kind of covered here. The only thing about this stock, man, is just it's got to find its way, man. The trend has to be broken. That's the problem with this one. You know, it's got to be broken. So get back to me when this crosses like 115 above the 200. Above the 200. Yeah, Shannon, that's a good one too. The Trader's Library. Every book in that link right there is absolutely free. So that's a good one too. Yeah, appreciate that, Three Hooks, for that. Yeah, appreciate that for that one. All right. And of course, you know, you can't beat lowfloat.com. I mean, lowfloat.com is also a really great spot to, you know, make sure you're looking at, excuse me, make sure you're looking at low float stocks. So lowfloat.com, you know, got to check that one every so often just to make sure, you know, you're looking at the low float plays and checking them on, screening them. You know, I go through lowfloat.com and I set my alerts. I pull up the chart, seeing where they are, and I set maybe a breakout price that it could hit. And I want to be notified if it gets to that price. You know, I want to be notified. It's a 20-day moving average. Your yellow, Henry, that's the 200. That's the 200-day moving average. That's the 200-day moving average. So if I want to see if the stock is severely, underperforming, and if it's below the 200-day moving average, I know that it's, it's struggling. All right. And we can see the stocks that are doing very well. Obviously, as you can see, here's AMD well above its 200-day moving average. So it allows me to determine just by, one look, boom. All right, this stock has been doing very well. This stock is not doing very well. I don't have to look even any further. If I'm looking for a breakout, I love breakout confirmed by a 200-day moving average, because that's a serious move in momentum. When you're breaking a 200-day moving average, that's a serious move in momentum. Arnold, education of a bodybuilder. BPSR. Yeah. Let me see here. BPSR. BPSR 21 cents today. OTC. What was that? Biotech services and what? What do they do? BPSR. Biotech services and research. Biotech services and research focuses on a lifestyle of health and wellness. Our vision is to be a vertically integrated company which primarily provides a patient referral service for integrative cellular therapies. You see, they try to be like confusing with their words. Just get to what you're trying to say. All right, just get to what you're trying to say. You're basically a durable medical equipment company. How about just trying to be confusing with it? Just get to what you're trying to say, man. Trying to use big words to sound complicated and shit. All right. Yeah, so they're decent looking website though. I don't know how legit it is. But I like the breakout here though, man. This breakout could be serious. That's a lot of volume, as you can see dictated here. Some serious buying here. The average volume is only 47,000 shares traded. But today over 666,000 shares were traded in the stock. So this stock is definitely under some kind of serious push here. I'm going to follow this one. Man. I'm going to follow this one. Whenever you see an OTC stock like that moving, BPSR, I'm gonna watch this one tomorrow. Because this could be that next AEXE. You know, we talked about AEXE, those stocks that run for like 7, 8 days, 9 days, sometimes a week and a half, and then you look back and the stock is up like 700% over those 2 weeks, and you're looking at it like, damn, I literally watched it every single day go up, and I'm, just looking at it stupid. Like, why didn't I do anything? Let me see here. BPSR 510. What's up?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? Who am I speaking with?
This is A. Brantley.
Hey, what's going on, Abe Brantley?
So, man, hey, did y'all talk about CNAT yet? I just got on.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about CNAT, man, and what I mentioned about is that the news today was real good, man. I mean, I what came out last night was very strong, but I was kind of concerned with that. The move today was overall was relatively weak, man. Unless you were in the stock, of course, yesterday, you woke up overall like, I don't know about this one. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really concerned because Bat Science is interesting enough. He said if the stock goes to 485 and looks to be moving higher, then it's a buy. I'm thinking that CNAT, if it doesn't do anything within the first 2 hours, I mean a strong move higher, then I'm thinking possibly a red day for the stock, man. 140% is a lot. That's a lot to be gained in one day. So tomorrow, logic says it's got to give some of that back. But if we have a great morning in the stock, then we could see, not another 100% day, but some green.
Yeah, I already played it today. I made a good little profit on it. I'm thinking about shorting it tomorrow if I can find some shares.
Yeah, that's true too. If you can find some shares on it, but I think if we don't have a great morning, I think if it's 11, 12:30 and the stock is like sideways and indecisive and buyers can't give in, sellers can't give in, and then we're looking at a possible crackdown to the low fours, possibly even the threes. But we'll see. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys talked about this one yet. The ticker is TWEer.
TWEer. Yeah, I looked at it briefly, but I don't know what's going on too much with the company. If you can inform us, let us know why do you think, 23% gain today on the stock. What makes you think this could be something that can, keep our attention for multiple days here?
What's it called? It just popped on my watch list. I'm looking at the chart, and I see it did drop a lot today. So I'm thinking it might bounce back up. I think this is too low for the stock.
Yeah, I mean, it actually did really well today. I mean, it was a buyer's market today in that stock. Pretty much wherever you got in today, you made money at the end of the day. The day's high was $1.30, which is where it ended up at. Very rare for a lot of stocks to end up strong at the end of the day like that, with buying moving into the close instead of out of the close. Selling into the close. But so interesting to see what happens there. Usually when you see that happening, that means that there could be some news dropping on the stock, people trying to get in before the bell. I'm seeing some lawsuit articles in here, and just a lot of old news. But other than that, maybe some news could be coming down the pipe. I don't know, but that 23% gain today on TWEer was definitely interesting.
Yeah, that's what I said. So yeah, just literally just popped on my watch list. I'm about to do some research. If I find anything, I'll call back once you guys know.
Yeah, not a problem. Let's definitely do that, man. Appreciate the call, Brantley.
All right, thanks, Al.
Yes, indeed. Appreciate it. Yeah, shout out to A. Brantley for the call. Let me see here. Let's see. What's going on, Joe Flores? Thank you for that article, by the way, man. TWEer, bullish engulfing pattern signal. Yeah, TWEer with that strong, You know, looks like somebody knows something's coming down the pipe in TVIA by the way that chart ended up today. You know, when you see buying into the close like that, it's like somebody knows something. They're just trying to get in as much as they can. Let me see here. Tiny TINY, Harris and Harris Group, financials. Yeah, I don't know anything about this one, Joshua Howard. Don't know anything about you enlighten me on that one. I don't know anything about Tiny. VKTX. Viking Therapeutics, so another one of those biotech plays. They received an orphan drug designation. This was about 2 weeks ago now. So let me see if I can see what happened to the stock there. I think this is where that came out. This is where that came out. As you can see here, it didn't hold the gain at all. Looks like it's been a pretty nice 5-day run in it so far, from the low 102 to 113. Other than that, I mean, I don't see anything interesting here. I don't see anything interesting in here. All right. Yeah, I don't see anything interesting here. All right. Let me see here. What else? Shannon. Volume is low. Do you want to swing CNAT? Let me see here. CNET. ChinaNet Online Holdings 106. Too bearish for me, man. Way too bearish for me. Way too bearish for me. That's you know, I'm already kind of iffy with Chinese companies. I like them when they're running. I love them when they're running. But overall, you know, I've been burned by a Chinese company or two. You know, some of them with fraud news. KGJI, we found out that was, you know, fraudulent company. The financials were fraudulent. I thought KGJI was, you know, the next, you know, big thing. Come to find out the financials were fraud, man. KGJI. King Gold Jewelry. You know, fraudulent financials, man. I think you got to go back to find the news, but very, very bearish. Look at that, man. This is a company that has, you know, $1 billion in revenue, trading at $1.30. You know, something's not going on. Something's not going on right over there. Another Chinese company, Yeco, YECO, that I keep an eye on. This is another company generating over $1 billion. You know, supposedly on their financials, but the stock is at 87 cents and declining. Why, you know, in America, you know, if you are making $1 billion, your stock is not trading at 87 cents. So what does the market or these analysts know that we don't know? So that tells me something, you know, is kind of funny over there. You know, something's kind of funny over there. I do see here, in fact, in Yeco, again, because I was so impressed with the fact that the company was generating all this revenue, and then the PE was less than 1. So I'm thinking this company has a book value of like $10 a share, and it's going for less than $1. This is a buy. This is a buy. You know, but here, this recent article, Yeco Long Materials notified by the NASDAQ that it has accepted its plan to regain compliance with filing requirements. So these companies aren't even putting their paperwork together right, man. You know. So that's why, you know, investors don't want to dig deep for them. That's exactly why investors don't want to dig deep for them, man. Out here scamming people, bro. Yeah, the China. This is the China. Let me see here. It's like, what is this? The ETF, China Financial ETF, and it's underperforming. All right, it's underperforming, man, because people don't trust Chinese companies, dude. They just don't trust Chinese companies. They, you know, and again, doesn't say anything about Asian people or anything like that. It's just that in China, man, it's just so much corruption. And it's just the way they do business over there, man. They lie, they'll smile in your face, and you know, I've read little articles here and there about how they do business in China, man. It's crazy. I'm not seeing a ticker for Kiri that's coming up, man. Yeah, I'm not seeing a ticker for that. I'm not seeing a ticker for that. Again, you know, these sleepy OTC plays, BTCS. BTCS is another one. I right now I got a lot of OTC plays on my list to watch. And again, our list to watch are pretty good, man. I mean, when you take our nightly list and you know, sit on them for like a week, you go back and you look at the chart moves, you know, quite a few of our stocks will move like, you know, anywhere between 12 to 15% from when we last talked about them. So you know, these stocks we talk about aren't necessarily just for you to, you know, look at tomorrow and maybe decide to make a move on them for the day or 2 days, but to possibly sit in these things, you know. Still like La Quinta, still like STM, still like AMD. Still like AMD. I want you to play Nike tomorrow if you can afford it, or if you play options. I think Nike tomorrow will be a nice play for anybody. FedEx did okay today. I think FedEx will also be another one. But you still got a lot of companies out there that are winning on the run. All right, Dow 20,000 is real. WAC continues to be that guaranteed short long term. Right now, unfortunately, just the way that company's working out to be. I'm looking for a possible end to that slowly here. I love how, as you can see, the you know, bearish momentum is easing up slightly. So I'm looking for a possible end to that. And this could have been, I think this was our warning sign here today in you know, toward the end of the day there in WAC. So I'm possibly looking at WAC, finding finally the floor there and looking to go sideways and hopefully break up higher, but we'll see. We'll see on WAC. All right. Let me see here. Soho continues to be a good winner. Soho, you guys remember this is the Hospitality Real Estate Investment Trust. Hospitality has been doing very, very good under Donald Trump. You can look at the hotels like Extended Stay, La Quinta. La Quinta is one of the ones I like a lot. I like Soho, though. I brought up Soho about 2 weeks ago. About a week ago, in that show, Fat Stocks to Watch. Soho, the stock is up another about 7.5% since then. So not too bad in Soho. Aaron's is another one. Aaron's, again, not a cheap stock, but you know, when customers and when Americans are very bullish on their earning potential, they have a tendency to go out and make these kind of purchases where they go out to companies like Aaron's, and you know, although they don't have any, I don't think they use credit anymore, so you can just kind of go in there, and if you got the income to afford it, they'll make it work for you. But Aaron's up higher today. I think Aaron's could be, you know, a $35 stock too eventually. Okay, and again, you know, obviously you get more bang for your buck at the OTC and under $5 level, no matter who you are. But the way these higher price stocks have been moving, you can get them. You can get in these stocks even for a couple $1,000s and generate a decent return over a course of a week and a half. You know, just because on the way that they've been gaining. But by all means, stay with the way you trade. You know, but I'm just saying, don't miss out on some serious gains here. Some serious gains here. All right. Let me see here. CarMax was another great one today. CarMax did good on earnings. We mentioned CarMax yesterday on the show. I didn't play CarMax though. I didn't think the options were as liquid as I wanted them to be. But CarMax was another one that kind of hit it out the park today that we talked about last night on the show. The other Apple company, this is the Real Estate Investment Trust. This one, interesting enough, is kind of sideways. Hopefully it's not breaking down here. A home builder, HOV. This is a low-cost home builder, $2.89. Sideways day today in the stock, but it's been one that's been, has a very, very aggressive December. The stock is up almost 89 cents in the last 2.5 weeks. 289. Havonian Enterprises. They're a home builder based out of, I want to say, California. You might want to do some research on that. But they're a home builder. I want to say they're based out of California. I'm not sure. You might want to do your research on that. In fact, let me see. Residential homes, company design builds, single family detached homes, condominiums. The company's operations are in, okay, so it just says, okay, there it is. New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, DC, West Virginia. They're all over the place. North Carolina, Georgia, Florida. Yeah, they're pretty big. They're a pretty big company. They're a pretty big company. All right, small cap. It's still a small cap. Only $400 million valuation, but they're all over the place. All right. Yes, indeed. Bad scientists. I don't know. I don't know, man. The thing about Angie's List is that it's got a lot of funds that still have the money in it. And I think at this point, that's the only people that are buying it, man. And I don't understand what continues to keep Angie's List alive. I've had to cover my shorts in this position, after a huge dip started to turn around against me. In fact, I remember, dogging the shit out of Angie's List, and just before the whole, the election, I hated Angie's List. And sure enough, the stock, seems to be coming back to life. And it's been quite frustrating, really, because I understand the technology doesn't make sense anymore. The technology doesn't make sense anymore. Nobody's paying $25 a month to give a crap what their, neighbor thinks about a guy who, paints houses and what he did for them. When I can go on, on Google and read reviews completely free. There are competitors that do it for free now. They do exactly what Angie's List does for free. And in fact, I think Angie's List earnings in January is when I think the knife is going to really be able to put into its back, is when earnings comes out. Yeah. SGYs is a huge. SGYs is on our gainer list for tonight. SGY is on our list for tonight, and that's already been a stock that's been doing very, very well. It's been doing very, very well. And SGY is a multiple. But here's the thing about SGY, though. I pointed out earlier, SGY pulled back a little bit today, toward the end of the day today. So I would try to figure out if, SGY again, it's hitting that breakout, which is expected because as you can see here, here's the breakout here on SGY. If we go back to 2 months ago, where it kind of fell off, into, the rut, and it's worked its way out. So it's expected for a stock to hit, a very important top, that it's going to meet with some resistance, because you're not the only person to see that. Other people see that. Other traders, these robots see that you're trading against too, see that. So, that's to be expected. If you're already in the stock, I wouldn't fret. If you're already in the stock, I wouldn't fret. And in fact, if you're someone who is not in the stock, I'd still take that trade. I would see what the stock does tomorrow. I'd still take that trade, though. Even on this pullback, I would take that for a retest. I would take that. Yeah, the day's high today was 1249. The day's high was 12.49. You closed at 11.12. That's almost $1.30. That's $1.30 higher, and you still ended up with a 10% gain on the day. So I'm looking at SGY, and I'm like, okay, damn. If I can get in tomorrow, I can get in tomorrow at $1.30 at a discount. I know based on, the chart that the primary, secondary, immediate trends are all in my favor. They're all in my favor. I got the breakout at 12.49. It's a high probability trade for me to be profitable, over the course of the next, week and a half. That, I'd have a pretty good profit. This is not going to be something that I'm going to be in tomorrow and then that's it. This would have to be a trade you're going to have to commit yourself to until possibly, beginning mid-February. I mean, not mid-February, mid-January. Mid-January. Because the potential, to break through this is very possible. And the sky's the limit after that, man. The sky's the limit after that. Here's the 6-month chart. You break this top here, and this is all you. You break this top, this is all you. This is all you. And again, it's got great volume. 5 million shares traded today alone. Average was typically 1 million shares. So you got a lot of momentum coming into the stock right now. So it's a great time to be in the trade. $57 million market cap. It's not a big company. But, it's profitable. Look at the PE is dirt cheap. So price to earnings is relatively cheap. Actually, dirt cheap, with that PE ratio. No, Joshua, what's the news on it? All right, we in here kind of heavy right now. 91, I appreciate all the 91 people watching this. In here kind of heavy right now. Yeah, but I like SGY. I like SGY long, going long here. I like SGY going long here. All right. Yes, indeed. Small company doing very, very big things. Very, very big things. But I love that breakout. And for those of you guys who, you want confirmation, maybe wait for the breakout. But I think, for those individuals who are willing to take the risk, again, wait till the stock opens up tomorrow. And if it finds the floor to bounce off of, find that bottom and sit on it. I think it'd look very nice for you. I think, long term. All right. After hours is up 21%. Let me see. What are my after hours? I know we got some after hours guys in here who love looking at after hours winners. What are our after hours? Little after hours crew in here. And then I'll post up the stocks for tomorrow to watch. And again, some of these OTC plays, guys, do not forget about these OTC plays, man, that are sitting on their laurels right now, not doing anything, because those are the plays that when they run 50-60% and you guys, want to talk about it and you're hesitating on getting on because they've moved aggressively, now's the time to get into some of those plays, like Bitcoin, BTCS. And again, I'm not pumping it. I don't have a position in that one. I will be getting a position in it tomorrow because I know I can sit in it and wait, put my little $500 in it and just sit on it until it does something. Because I know it will do something because there's no other publicly traded Bitcoin company on the market besides BTCS. Let me see. Harris Group. Yeah, it is up 14% after hours. Not sure why though. And the value after hours volume is only 84,000 shares. So I'd want to see what exactly that's all about. Yeah, I'd want to see what that's all about. Not impressed so far. Even though it's up, the volume isn't as impressive. It's not as impressive. Yeah, Jeremy Jordan. Yeah, man. Yeah. Somebody posted a link in another group. I appreciate that. Much respect, man. So we got a lot of viewers coming in from that and stuff like that. So, yeah. Slowly but surely, the bird builds its nest, man. I'm going to get I'm finally working some things out with YouTube. I got to film this commercial for YouTube. Not for YouTube. It's for me, but on YouTube. Because everybody's making money on my videos. What's his name? What's this guy with his knowledge or whatever like that? 67 steps for Ty Lopez. All these other real estate people, they're all over my videos making money. And I should be doing that shit, So my thing is, I gotta get back to promoting. That's what I need to do. Get back to promoting. Everybody's promoting but me. I need to get back to doing that shit. So yes, I've been saying this for some time, but those annoying videos, I gotta come back with the annoying videos, man. I know you guys hated my pump and dump videos. I know you didn't like it, but again, you don't have to play them if you don't want to. You don't have to play them if you don't want to, but I gotta come back, man. I know you don't like my pump and dump videos, but it is what it is, man. He said a model. Yeah, definitely. All right. MEG. He said make a penny stock music video. That's a good idea, though, too. He said, Lee, you said don't do it. Hey, stock promoting is illegal. I mean, not illegal. Stock promoting is legal, excuse me. I've been doing it legally ever since I started. If they wanted to bust me, they could have busted me a long time ago, dude. They could have busted me a long time ago, dude. You look at some of my old promos, dude, like 2.3, 2.4 million, dollars generated in some of these pumps. They would have done me in a long time ago, but my paperwork is so A1. My paperwork is so A1. I'm telling you, my lawyers are Jewish, homie. They don't play around with that. They know they don't get paid unless I get paid. You feel me? Yes, indeed. Rapping is one way to communicate to the mass. GBTC. The GBTC 101. Bitcoin. Okay, yeah, this is an OTC Bitcoin company. Yeah, but look at the volume though, man. The volume is not there. The volume is not there. Yeah, Joshua, they're not cheap, but I can't afford a retainer. If you got a lawyer on retainer, you're a baller. If you got a lawyer on a retainer, you're a baller. So I just go by per action basically whenever I need them. But you're the type of person, you got a lawyer on a retainer. I mean, you getting them a monthly check. You know what I'm saying? That's you the shit. You that nigga for real. WSTL 68 cents. Smartphones. WSTL. I like the way the chart is set up there, man. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm going to do some research on that. I like the way that chart's set up, man. I like the way that chart is set up there, and like crawled over that 200 day here on that on the 3-month chart. Let me see what the 30-day chart looks like. Yeah, the 30-day doesn't look too bad. The 30-day doesn't look too bad. You're up 20 cents, almost 20 cents a share over a month. That's really good for a 50-cent stock. 20 cents a share. You're up almost, 20 cents. They're almost up. What is that? Almost like 35% over a month. 14% alone today. I'd have to do my research on that. And that was a good one day. And even on less than 500,000 shares traded. That's fine. That's fine, because with these kind of stocks, as they go up, as they go higher in price, And in value, what happens is that they start showing up in people's scans. You know what I'm saying? People doing those 10, 20, 30% weekly scans. Hey, find me a stock that's up 20% this week. Find me a stock that's up 30% this week. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to get into a stock that's low volume, that's moving aggressively, because as it continues to move higher, the volume will come as more attention comes its way. So WSTL, if it keeps this up, right? I'm under the impression it's going to keep this up based on what I've seen for, 30, 35, and then what it did today. So 35 and what it did today looks pretty nice. So even if I'm wrong tomorrow, the 30-day says if I'm patient, I'm corrected. I can still find my way into profit. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see. You said Tiny News. I have to put in every. Let me see. Hey, hey, Joshua. Hey, post that again, man. Go ahead and post that again. All right, appreciate it, Big Shaq. Yeah, I'm about to get up out of here in a minute too, guys. I'm about to get up out of here in a minute. Oh, it's a YouTube video? What was that? It's a YouTube. No, he posted he put my link in the chat room. Joshua, what's the article though? Let me see here. WSTL. Yeah, WSTL is nice. Let me make sure I wrote that down. I typed that down here in a minute. WSTL. Make sure I find that and run it. MMEG. MMEG. What is that? Oh, Momentous Entertainment Group. Okay, yeah, okay. This is one that's moving right now. It's got a lot of chatter behind it on Investors Hub. This is one of those chat room situations where, it's moving though. The company's putting out news. But this is one of those plays that comes straight out of Investors Hub. And shout out to Investors Hub, man. Those guys are winners over there. And that's when I first started trading OTCs. Investors Hub is the place to be. It's, you kind of go back and forth, but Investors Hub is those guys know what they're doing, man. They always getting good gains over there, man. Shout out to them.
To the crossover. Yes.
Yes. They always all net over there at Investors Hub, man. Always all net over there. Nothing but net. Yes, indeed. Investors Hub. All right. Yeah, Investors Hub is like Wikipedia. You can spend hours over there if you're not careful. You'll end up in some dead OTC company that you're looking through news. So just be careful there, because it's like Wikipedia. You end up wasting a lot of time going through a lot of BS over there. Harris and Harris Group released a final letter shareholders. No, it's time for Harris Group to change. Reduction in expenses. Okay. All right. So basically, fourth quarter update to. All right. So yeah, it represents some good news. Anytime a company releases a corporate update, that's good news. That's good news over there, man. So shout out to Tiny releasing some corporate news. We'll see how that moves the stock tomorrow, Joshua. We'll see. Yeah, OTC. Yeah, it is real hot, man. Real hot. Shout out to OTC Trader for that one, man. Yes, indeed. Shout out to you for that one, man. Yeah. 160% move. We'll see what it does tomorrow. And here's the thing I like about OTCs is that unlike NASDAQ, all right, because we have a NASDAQ stock today, CNAT, that did 150 plus, 140 plus, whatever it was. And it's not going to do that tomorrow. But OTCs can very well do that tomorrow. They very well could run another 100% tomorrow, because they just can do that. If people are willing to, buy into it, and they believe that, this continues to, run, it's very, very likely that, we can see another 100% gain tomorrow. Yeah, we can see a possible another 100% gain in MMEG. And I'm not saying jump in there tomorrow. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying the possibility of a run is very likely, because we can compare what's going on in MMEG to AEXE. AEXE is one of those, stocks that was, again, another double zero play. In fact, it started, when was this? Started last month, 0049, and now we're trading at a penny. In fact, we actually hit 3 pennies. I told you earlier, over the course of a month and 14 days, AEXE rose to a gain of 528%. Now, take $1,000 and, multiply it by 528%. Not saying you would have probably sat on that $1,000 as you watched yourself double and tripled your money. But if you did, that was the potential you would have got if you, timed it absolutely perfectly at the high a couple days ago. All right, just saying. It says a group on Hangout, all of it in MMEG. On Hangout, they're all posted this stream. Okay, appreciate it, man. Yeah, I think when you talk about OTCs and you're talking about companies like this, it's just about getting the word out, man. And it's so crazy because I have a video talking about how to make $25,000 a month. Now a lot of people believe that it's not possible, and but at the end of the day, OTC market investing is very much like network marketing. See, in network marketing, you buy into the product and your goal is to get 5 or 6 or how many other thousands of other people to buy into the product as well, and to get other people to buy into the product. Whereas an OTC market investor, your job is to do the exact same thing. So if you get into this OTC market company, MMEG, your job is to find 5 other people who are going to want to participate. And again, it's not about scamming, because you actually believe in what they're trying to do. They've got a legitimate operation. You believe that they're trying to accomplish this goal, whatever they've set out to do, right, to accomplish this goal. So it's not about scamming anybody. That's the big thing. A lot of people think it's not about scamming anything. It's a business you believe in. You believe other people will believe in it, and your job is to spread the word about it. All right? So it's not, a lot of people get, there are some scams. The scams are real. Yes, the scams are real. The pump and dumps are real. But there are companies out there that trade on OTC markets that are really trying to do something. Yes, they are out there. But it's your job to be an active investor. It's not just, the promoter, come on, man, send out another email. Come on, man, make another video. No, that's not how it works. This is an OTC company. You can literally call up the CEO, the corporate number, and 9 times out of 10, the guy who's going to pick up the phone is the CEO. So you can't be any closer to the operations than that. And with that being said, if you want to see the company succeed, then you've got to put the company in the position to succeed by telling your friends about it, telling other traders about it, and they say, hey man, hey, look, I'm on this opportunity right now called MMEG. They're an entertainment production company. Again, I haven't done my research on this. They're I don't know, maybe producing some films, and they're looking to make some big moves, man. And I think you should jump in right now while the going is good. That's how you move. That's how you move. That's how you move. And yeah, Trading Jedi, and Trading Jedi, fair point with what you're saying, Trading Jedi. That's a very fair point. You might not, you don't have to worry about that when you're a NASDAQ. The companies are too big. They have their own marketing departments. They have multiple millions of dollars to grow their services and their businesses. But here's the thing. You miss out on that growth. You miss out on the growth that it took for them to get on NASDAQ. You miss out on that growth. So yeah, that $10 per share company is putting up numbers 2-3%, but guess what? That was a 33-cent company way back when. Microsoft was an 87-cent company. Apple traded at 45 cents a share at one time. You don't believe that there were people at that, in that stock at that time? And again, I'm not saying these companies could be that one day. One or two of them will, because that's what life is. One or two of them will be the next, God knows what. But it's all risk and reward and what you're willing to do. That's all it is. There scams on every level. They're publicly traded, New York Stock Exchange scams right now that we hold so dear and high. If I were to say the name, you would say, oh, that's one of the best companies in the world. We're sitting here talking about that company like it's A1, and we have no idea that there is a VP of finance or somewhere just sweating his balls off because he knows all the numbers are scam and are full of shit, but we don't. So they're scams on every level. They're scams on every level. All right. So let me go ahead and put my list up there. Close out the day, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have a show on Wednesday, but I'll be back on Thursday, same time, same place. I really hope you guys have enjoyed the show. All the new people watching, please subscribe right now. I appreciate you for watching. This is all about OTCs here, and NASDAQ and all that. We cover stocks typically under $10 a share. All right, but I'm getting into some options too here and there. But for the most part, stocks under $10 a share. All right. So if you can also, as you guys are watching me on YouTube, there's a thumbs up right there underneath the screen. If you can click that thumbs up, I really would appreciate it. I really would appreciate you click that thumbs up so it makes sure this video shows up real nice and bold on a lot of people's YouTube screen tomorrow morning. So I really appreciate that, guys. All right, if you would do that for me. So there is the list for tomorrow. And it's not necessarily just for tomorrow, but it's also for, for the next multiple days. Some really interesting stocks. And again, it's not all of them. We just talked about MMEG. That's not on that list. I'm not saying that's not something to trade. I don't know anything about it, but 160% makes me want to take a look at it. And I sure will do that. Because that's a huge move. All right, that's a huge move. So shout out to whoever brought that up there. Shout out to him for that. All right, so I really appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of viewers in the house, man. Shout out to all the viewers who came to join me in the building today, man. Yes, indeed. Oakland in the house. Lonnie Carter, Roland Perry, 3 hooks. Jeremy Jordan, more peace. Yes, indeed. Great show. OTC Trader. Devin Miller. God damn, I got so many people in the building right now. Yes, indeed. Shout out to everybody in the house.
Jordan to the crossover.
Yes. BDRM. Yeah. Hey, can't look at them all. Shout out to everybody. Erica Looper. Shannon Johnson. Gregory Hall. Everybody. Travi. Bill Betts. Sinclair. Thank you, man. Appreciate it, dude. Jeremy Jordan, Random Pen, Geeky Trader, thank you so much for joining me. Dwayne Duvall, man, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Who else? Roland Perry, Spartan Financial, Bad Scientist, man. Thank you so much, man. Yes, indeed. We growing over here, Three Hooks. Speaker Knocker, thank you, man. Appreciate it. You say last time was like the weed stock went crazy. I hope so, man. I would love to see weed stocks, get hot again. But my problem is that, a lot of these stocks haven't gone and got their licenses for these new states. Now, I don't know if Florida, Nevada, and California have actually put out the applications yet for the new licenses for those states. But once they get those licenses and approved, I think we'll start seeing, marijuana run again. But until then, I think we haven't gotten to the bottom yet. That's why I don't want to say jump in now, because I think a lot of these stocks still got some meat that they need to come off. Yes, indeed. Appreciate it, DeMarco Chantrell. Richie Rich, Chase 5230, Mag 3690. I don't know if he was in the house. Yes, Max Trader. Next year, Massachusetts is next. Yes, sir. Yes. Sid Hard, appreciate it, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I am out of here. Thank you, Erica Looper, for watching. All the beautiful women in the house, appreciate you for joining. Love all the ladies coming into the room. All right, appreciate it, Joel Flores. Thank you so much. I'm out of here, guys. Take care. See you guys Thursday night, ladies and gentlemen. Happy trading. All right, let's see here real quick. Got my all these little things I gotta close out of. Appreciate you guys for watching. Appreciate all you guys for watching as I get out of here. Got a whole lot of little things I gotta close out. All right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. God damn. I didn't know I opened up this many boxes. Alright. Yeah, I opened up so many damn little boxes. I gotta. Let's see. Somebody sent me a message on Twitter. What's the instrumental? Is Future Drake, Where You At? Let me see here. Yes, indeed. Alright, so we're gonna close out. Damn. So every time I put in a ticker, it opened up a new damn box. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Again, Thursday night, same time, same place. Love you guys, man.